Welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at Bitcoin Cash. This is going to be a lower time frame video. We also do have our higher time frame video up above, so check that out if you haven't already. Let's get into the charts and see what's going on. Okay, so before we jump into the smaller time frame stuff, we are looking for a couple of potential options here. So within our move to the upside, if we're going to say that we are looking to trend, what we would be looking for is something along these lines, where this is 1, 2, 3. We're looking for a fourth and a fifth, and this would be looking for confirmation that we have a low in place over here. Now what we need to be cautious of is within the more bearish case, what we could actually see is that we could be looking for a corrective move to the upside, where from this point here, what we could argue is that we are looking for this B wave. Now this B wave typical retraction area is here between this 382 and this 786. So this could mean that we could actually have a completed corrective structure to the upside here, and we could start to see price look to fall away, looking for a C wave. If this is the case, effectively our 0.618 would be our minimum requirement. We're looking for this towards a 63.85. So this is looking for that possibility of continuation to the downside. So we need to see how we actually react off of this level. We need to continue to maintain these lows and continue to maintain our key support ranges for that bullish count. So what we are looking for is that potential of this being 1, 2, 3, 4. Now common fourth wave target area is this 16921 to this zone here of this 234.78. Invalidation would come by crossing this wave 1 high, which is sitting at this 154.10. So we're not allowed to cross this high, otherwise this means that this cannot be looking at this move as a 5-wave structure in this way. Now it is possible that we could also argue that instead of counting this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in this way, what we could actually be doing is starting to extend out, where effectively this becomes our 1, 2 here, and we're looking for another 1 and a 2. So the key thing with this is we would be looking for the potential to actually come down a lot deeper. Now we have come down to this 0.236, which is an extremely rare wave 2 position. So I'm just being cautious around this area, that if we start to see 5-wave structure develop to the upside, we need to be on the lookout for that possibility we could directly push to the upside here. If however we look at this as a corrective move, what we could actually see is price could actually start to come down in a bigger way here. What we could look for as possible targets, which would be more common, would be this 50% to the 786. This 0.382 is also a rare retracement area for wave 2. So we're going to have to keep an eye on these levels. If we do see price come down into these zones, could be potentially interesting to see how we react between this 382 and this 50%. That would bring us back into this previous structure here. Alternatively, if we come back down deeper here, this golden pocket would be a retest of some of these lower highs that we have over here. So going to be on the lookout for that. Okay, so let's get into this lower degree count here and actually zone in a little bit on this structure. So we were looking for a couple of things in the previous videos. We're looking at that possibility that we could still be extending from here, where this becomes 1, 2, and then we look to push up in a bigger way. Now I don't like this anymore because of the fact of how big this structure has got. So I think it is less likely that we got that playing out. And rather what I would be saying here is that, you know, we've either completed this move into this high here and we're looking for a wave 2, or we're still looking for that wave 4. Now, if we are looking for that as a wave 4, like I said before, our common target area for support is here at this 234.78 to this 169.21. Now, if this is already completed, which is very unlikely because the wave 2 would be much bigger, I would be still anticipating some more of a fourth wave here, to be honest with you. If we do start to break directly up here, that means that we have extension somewhere else that I haven't accounted for. But effectively what I'm looking for here is the fact that this fourth wave is going to look to get a bit bigger here, because whether this is a fourth wave or this is a wave 2, I would still expect this to be a bit larger than it currently is. So within this structure, what I'm looking for is that this could actually be an A wave to the downside. We have this as our B wave to the upside. And what I'm looking for here primarily is this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. As long as we actually stay below this level here of this 260, I'm going to be continuing to look for this potential that we could get this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looking to push us down deeper here towards this 226 to this 218 level. So if we do see 5-wave structure into this zone, this would also be interesting because we have this previous fourth wave sitting in this area. So I'd want to see how we react. If we get something like this to the downside and we only get 3 waves back to the upside, potentially what we could get is this is a bigger A, B, and a C pattern to the downside, where our 1-to-1 target would actually be towards this 200 which would align quite nicely with a a nice psychological level there. As well as that would be bringing us back towards this 0.382. But even if we see something like this, I still don't think that the time duration would fit that well within the idea of this being a fourth wave. It might fit better as the idea of a secondary wave 2, but not really as this fourth wave. And then what we'd have to do is basically see how we react from this zone. 3 waves back to the upside here could indicate that we actually see that continuation down. Now, it is also possible that with this being a B wave, what we could then see is, something like this, where price actually looks to come back up here, sweep these highs and become something like a bigger flat correction, all still keeping us in the same area here, effectively having 3 waves up, breaking this high, getting 5 waves to the downside and actually looking to break the low. So we need to be on the lookout for this, that if we do see this additional 5th wave down here, what we could then see is a 3 wave move up and then this 5 wave move still back to the downside, looking for this C wave. In the shorter term, like I said, as long as we actually remain below this 260 level, I'm still looking for this potential of this break to the downside. If we do start to break above this, however, it could actually imply that this move has already completed, and possibly what we have here instead is this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 into this area here. Now, the thing we need to be cautious with this, if this is a 5 wave move down here, is that until we actually break above this high, this could still look to extend out, where this becomes 1, 2, and then we still look to push down for either a 3rd or a C wave. So it could become 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or alternatively A, B, and C. So this is going to be our key high here if we want to look for that continuation to the upside in that bullish way. Until we actually break back above this, the potential is more likely that we're going to still see this continuation to the downside here. So I will be very cautious that if we fail to achieve this 4th wave here, but we still push up just in 3 waves, this could still mean that we could possibly see a move down towards some of these lower levels, this 1-to-1 still at this 224, and then all the way up to this 1618 really would still be aligning with the corrective structure. But if we start to move down past this 1618 level at this 189, it would probably mean then that we are starting to get some kind of a bigger extension in here, where this is 1212. But at the moment, I'm not really looking at this as a 5-wave structure. It is looking very corrective up here. So I am still looking for that potential that this is just corrective, looking to form a bigger 4th wave here, looking to push us down into that zone that we talked about here, 234 to this 169. If we do push back to the upside here, we could potentially then be getting some extension, but we'll have to see exactly how that plays out, because it wouldn't make a lot of sense unless this is just a really short wave too, and then we would have to see a much bigger push to the upside to confirm it. Coming in here and looking at the daily CPR, what we can see is that we are currently below our central CPR lines, and these are printed slightly lower, so this has got a slight bearish sentiment to it. We'll have to see if price continues to confirm this. We are currently below these central lines, which are sitting between this 244 and this 245.61. If we do continue to stay below this level and we continue to reject possible downside targets, we've already met this 242. We do also have this lower level here of this 239. We have this 237 and this level here of this 234 as potential downside targets still here. So we need to be careful of these. If we do look to break to the downside, price can move through these levels, but this would be looking for that possibility that we could still see continuation to the downside looking to play out here. If however we start to break back above these central lines, possible targets could align with being this 248.31, 250, this high here of this 253, and this level here of this 256. So this would be more likely the case that if we do see something like this move to the upside here, that effectively this would be A, B, and C, something like this, still looking for that potential of that continuation down. Because like I said, with this count here, until we actually break above 260, I would still be on the lookout for any kind of move to the upside here in 3 waves. Could still be looking for this lower target of this 5th wave towards this 226. So until we break above that, going to be careful of this idea of continuation to the downside. Now, having a look at the weekly pivots, we can see here that to the upside here we have the central lines. So 256 is the lower line, 263 is the center, and 270 is the higher line here. Now, if we do see price move up into these levels, this could actually imply that we could find resistance on these. So going to be keeping an eye on these zones. Particularly this middle one might be quite interesting here as a retest, as a push past some of these highs here. Alternatively, even back into this 256 could be quite an interesting zone, as just looking at this as a corrective move in this way. Now, if we do look to push back to the upside here, possible targets for the remainder of this week would be this 280, this 311, and this 329, but we don't have a lot of time left for these. So if we do look to continue to reject down here, I'm going to see how we react again towards this 232. We have tested this area once before. Possibly, if this correction is not completed, we could get this as a B and then a C wave back to the upside here. So we're going to be keeping an eye on this, that if we just see 3 waves down, possibly we could look to find support in this zone. Alternatively, if we do look to break down deeper here, our 5th wave target box could potentially be overshot here if we do look to test out this 215. And then we also have this lower level here of this 184 as a potential target for this week. Now, moving over here onto the monthly CPRs, what we can see is that our central lines are actually being held at the moment. If we continue to hold this central level, we do have potential to see price move back to the upside here. 272 would be the next possible resistance area back into these lows. Alternatively, if we start to lose this level, what we could see is price get gravitated back towards this lower level here of this 209, which would align with coming down here one more time, and then possibly looking for a reaction back to the upside. Now, if we do look to lose these central lines completely and we look to push down, 154.73 is going to be a target for this month. Now, if we do look to actually push back to the upside here, targets would be this 390, 474, and this level here of this 628 as possible upside targets still for this month. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on these. I am anticipating, that possibility more to the downside here, to be honest, but we'll have to see whether the price actually confirms it, because we do still have that bullish count where this could be 1-2, and then we could just look to move away from this area. So we're going to have to keep an eye on these levels, see how we react around them. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video. Leave us some feedback down below, and also in the description you'll find a link to Discord. Come check it out, it's free to join. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.